Hello and welcome back. For many Bronxites, regardless of how many years you've lived in our borough, there is always more to discover. And our next guest has used her journey to not only shine a light on underrepresented communities and small businesses, but also is sparking conversations of diversity and inclusion through pioneering events like Riverdale Pride, Restaurant Week in Riverdale, and community-driven initiatives like clothing drives and winter coat giveaways. Her experience has recently led her to connect even further with businesses in our borough, launching 4Bronx Community, the podcast. Here to share more is founder and director of 4Bronx Project, Laura Levine-Pinedo. Hi, Laura, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
I'm good, good morning. Well, I know I mentioned a few of the things that you're doing. You have also received awards recently.
Yes.
What does this time feel like for you?
How do we put this into, how do we put this organized chaos?
Yeah.
So I am a restaurant manager. I have worked in the restaurant industry for many years. And during the pandemic, restaurants got shut down, if we all remember these days, about 3 years ago. I decided to turn the restaurant that I was working at the time into a drop-off site where I could redirect goods and services to people of the Bronx. It's something I'm very passionate. I'm raised in the Bronx my whole entire life. Shout out to 238th Street and Review Place. And so it's really important for me. I've seen people struggle in this borough since, early childhood, and it's really my passion to give back and do my part to make this borough a better place.
Yeah, and you are definitely doing your part in giving back. But I want to know, too, a little bit about the founding of it, right? The name in itself, I know there's a very personal connection.
Yes, and I think not too many people know. I'm actually more creative than I give myself credit for. So my dad is a disabled veteran. I grew up as a child with him in and out of homelessness. I, thank goodness, was never homeless. My mother held it down, as so many single mothers do. But my dad, I did see, the struggle of PTSD, of mental illness and addiction at a very early age. So I was raised in the home with my grandparents because my mother was working 2-3 jobs. My grandparents raised me. My grandmother was everything to me. She passed away in 2017 in my arms the day after I showed her my engagement ring to my husband.
Wow.
So very dramatic. Our family would have it no other way. So she was just such an inspiration to me, and she had nothing herself. And, as many Bronx families know, there were times where, on a Wednesday, we didn't really have anything in the fridge, and, payday's Friday, and what are we gonna do? And it's something that Bronx kids should not have to go through. And I saw all the families in my building, many of them go through these same issues. Right. My grandma passed away. She was very important to me, and I wanted to name my work after her and create this legacy for her, because unfortunately, like many Bronx people, if you're not rich, if you're not famous, when you pass away, that's it. It's like you never existed. So I couldn't bear that to happen to my grandmother because she was so important to me. So, every week she would save like $5. And then at Christmas time, we'd go to national wholesale liquidators in Cross County and buy a bunch of stuff for the people living in the shelters. So that's where I first got my first taste. So when she passed away, I said, I have to name it after her. Her name was Alice. It sounds a little too feminine for what I want to do. What do I want to do? I want to help the Bronx. So 4Bronx is 4, the number 4, and then Bronx. I grew up with her in apartment 4B.
Wow.
So 4Bronx, 4B. And she always had her signature red nails, so had to do red.
Perfect.
The logo.
Yeah, she's captured literally in the legacy of this organization.
So her spirit is with me.
Yeah, and even obviously apartment 4B in itself. Have you been able to be back? How is that?
I think it's too painful for me. There's other people living there now in this apartment. I did go back to shoot my main, my promo when I was first beginning out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so scared. Like I'm gonna get hit. But even though I'm not there, like that place is my foundation for my work, so I take it with me.
Yeah, and like you said, even the initiatives that you were able to start with her, that all is captured in the work that you do today.
Right.
Now, the name, our borough is in the name. The Bronx,
it's in
right?
the name,
so
yes.
How has the Bronx specifically also inspired you in your work?
I think the Bronx, and I go to many things about the Bronx. The Bronx is truly in a stage of renaissance. I do believe that. Yeah. We are oftentimes the most forgotten about borough. We are, there's just so much opportunity, and there's no borough, in my opinion, that is as resilient as the Bronx. I know because I'm one of them, right. And it's really inspiring to meet different people and their stories and things like that. So
Yeah, and like you said, it is definitely maybe forgotten, overlooked sometime, but
It's
with the
all,
work that you're doing, you're definitely putting it on the map, especially the people as well, right? So
right.
talk to me about the work that you do also focuses on the people behind these businesses. How important was it for in the work that you do to showcase that?
So when the restaurants reopened, I had to find a place to call this a home because it's not fair to do this inundate a restaurant with things like this. I shot my idea around. I was picked up by a local nonprofit here. It's called KRVC, Kingsbridge Riverdale Van Cortlandt Development Corporation. It's on West 236th in the Bronx. They've been around for over 40-something years. And I pitched it and they went with it, and I am their newest project. And they have been so gracious. I have full access to their office space whenever I want. They have given me a 10-foot box truck.
Okay.
So now 4Bronx all of a sudden has become mobile. So we can drop off and deliver anywhere in the borough. We've gone as far as Jersey to do some pickups. We're just all over Mount Vernon. We're just all over in that truck. It's just my truck and I and my McDonald's Coca-Cola, because that keeps me, I don't drink coffee, so that's my caffeine.
Whatever keeps you going to do the next project.
And we just collect and we lift up the hatch, and the women in the shelters come and they go shopping. We call it shopping because, and they pick the clothes they want for their kids. And there's just so many people that want to give, but they don't have an outlet to do it. So we become that outlet to connect people who want to donate and people who are seeking donations.
And how long have you had now the 4Bronx project truck?
I've had it, maybe a year now already. Officially, I became part of KRVC in December of 2022. Okay. But I've had access to it. I had to put my logo on it. So it's really great. It's really great. And it helps so many people.
Now, you talk about KRVC. I also know you work with 505BX.
That's
Talk
the same.
to me. Yeah, so how important are collaborators in the work that we do, especially I know for other people who maybe are looking to get started and have these, how important is having the support of those organizations?
I just think, 505 is KRVC. They've merged everything. So 4Bronx, KRVC Productions, all that is through 505BX. We have an art gallery there, which is amazing. We have an art show coming up in Henry Hudson Park. You can stay tuned. It's just important, I think, to collaborate because many times it's a competition. And I never understood, why is it a competition for nonprofits? Like, we're all trying to do the same thing. And I think when people just get over it and work together and stop trying to tear people down, that's when the magic can happen. And that's when the community will benefit the most, in my opinion.
And speaking about, but even the magic that you are able to create through these collaborations, I know one of them was the first ever Pride Week in Riverdale, right?
Right.
Talk to me about leading such initiatives like that and the importance.
I founded Riverdale Pride and Riverdale Restaurant Week with Mike Gabert of Flexus Media. It's another Bronx, it's a Bronx-based company. We just had this, I have this vision, I have this dream of a more diverse, of a more inclusive community. And, being in the restaurant business, I'm exposed to many people from different walks of life. And when a group of people when they don't feel like they can call the community their home, how can we call ourselves a community? So it's just bringing more acceptance and more awareness to different groups that are going through things. And I think all of us at some point in our life, myself, everyone, we've gone through a situation where we felt like we didn't fit in. For me, it's always been my weight. I've always been overweight. I don't fit in. Talk about traumatic. Going shopping in the early 2000s as a plus-size preteen. So now it's better now. But I just want I want to do my part so that people don't feel that way. So, the LGBTQ plus community is very prevalent in the Bronx, in Riverdale, and we have to celebrate them. We have to celebrate, no more. We are who we are, and that's it.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that were a part of Riverdale Pride?
So this year, Riverdale Pride, we had the Bronx native. We collabed with him, Amauti, shout out. He actually helped mold me to be more comfortable and more confident, because I'm always So we did a collaboration. We highlighted some LGBTQ plus owned businesses in Riverdale. So we did that. And then, we just had a bunch of vendors, a bunch of sponsors. We had activities. We had performances. We had just so much. It was about between 400 and 500 people that showed up for Pride. And that's a pretty big deal for,
for the first time as well.
It was the second time this year. So it doubled in attendance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can hope for a third year as well.
Absolutely. And I also think, Pride is not something that you just celebrate in June. Pride is to be celebrated all year. And, people of the LGBTQ plus community are professionals, they're families. You know, they need to be celebrated and they need to be accepted all year. And so I just want to do that and create more events that people feel more home.
But now this next evolution, the podcast,
The
4Bronx
podcast.
Community.
Oh,
what
boy.
type of tea are we spilling here?
So, you know, there's so many people that I've met, that you've met in your journey, characters. Like, I'm like, this is a reality TV show waiting to happen. It's like a movie, you know, people's stories. And I've met so many of them, and I'm just like, you know what? It's time that our voices are heard. And, you know, that you don't have to wait, you know, like Bronx Net's amazing, News 12's amazing, but let's be honest, not everyone has an opportunity to come on. So this is just super, super hyper local. Anyone can email me. I want to tell my story. I want to promote my business. And my hope for this is that, you know, they'll come on, someone will listen, and there will be a connection. And there already have been connections.
Wow.
So that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's just the whole reason. And I love speaking, and apparently. So it's just great.
Awesome. Well, no, I think obviously with that as well, I am just so grateful for the work that you're doing. Please let people know where they can also find out what upcoming things are happening as well for 4Bronx.
Right. So 4Bronx, we have a lot of activities planned because I like to just keep going. And so we have a Halloween party at a local Bronx shelter. Amazon recently sponsored us. We're doing a backpack giveaway this Wednesday at another local shelter in the Bronx. And just, you know, Christmas and Halloween and toys and Thanksgiving
A bunch of
and
things are coming
a
up.
bunch of things. We have a
Awesome.
financial literacy workshop, and, you know, shout out to Gustavo Rivera. We've won an award with him. Major. You know, we really haven't been established for over a year, and major. I really appreciate someone recognizing the work that we do.
Great. Well, no, definitely it is something worthy of being recognized, and I'm so excited for the work that you have coming up as well. So we will definitely stay tuned. Thank you, Laura Levine-Pinedo, founder and director of 4Bronx Project. For more information, visit 505bx.org. And listen to new episodes of 4Bronx Community, the podcast, available on all streaming platforms. Stay tuned because our Open Artist Spotlight is coming up next.